Washington State, a land of impossible contrasts. Snow-draped peaks rising over evergreen forests, the electric hum of Seattle, fishing towns, ferry horns, and farmland stitched between endless rivers. It's a place that feels almost untouched, where beauty is everywhere and danger feels far away. But beauty can deceive, because in the Pacific Northwest, tucked between mountain valleys and quiet suburbs, lie some of the most chilling mysteries in American crime. Cases where entire communities were shaken, investigations spiraled into dead ends, and families were left clinging to hope that never came. Tonight, we're stepping into three of Washington's darkest corridors. The mineral tub sock killings of 1985 and 1986, where young couples were hunted in the woods. The Halloween murder of software engineer Arpana Jinaga, a crime scene so twisted it still rattles investigators. And the 2016 vanishing of Logan Schiendelman, whose abandoned car was found along Interstate 5. But Logan himself was never seen again. Each story leaves more questions than answers. Each one lingers like fog in the trees. And by the end, you'll see just how thin the line between safety and horror can be. So stay with us. If you're drawn to true crime stories that don't just scare, but scar, subscribe to Unseen Casebook Vids and turn on notifications. Because here, we don't just tell stories. We climb into the darkness with them. Case 1. The Mineral Murders, the Tub Sock Killings. Mineral, Washington. Just hearing the name might conjure images of fishing boats gliding across quiet water, of tall pines and crisp air, far removed from city noise. But in the mid-1980s, Mineral became synonymous with one thing: fear. August 1985. Stephen Harkins, 27, and his girlfriend Ruth Cooper, 42, left their Tacoma home for what should have been a routine camping trip at Toole Lake. They were outdoorsy people, the kind who could pitch a tent in minutes and find comfort in silence. But this would be their final trip. When Monday came and they didn't show up for work at the Tacoma Vocational School, concern grew quickly. By August 14th, 4 days after they'd left, hikers stumbled upon a scene frozen in terror. Stephen was found inside his sleeping bag. His head bore a fatal gunshot wound. He never even had the chance to wake up. Nearby, their loyal dog was found dead as well, as if silenced alongside its owners. It was a brutal crime, and yet strangely quiet. There were no witnesses, no signs of struggle, just two lives extinguished in the wilderness. For investigators, the memory of another case still lingered. Just months earlier, in March 1985, another young couple, Edward Smith and Kimberly Diane Levine, had been killed in Kent, Washington, under similar circumstances. At first, detectives wondered, was there a predator stalking couples in the state? Then came October 26th. A skull was discovered near Harts Lake, only 1.5 miles from Stephen's body. Dental records confirmed it belonged to Ruth. 2 days later, searchers found the rest of her remains, the detail that burned itself into investigators' minds, a tube sock tied tightly around her neck. The image was haunting. So haunting that it gave the series of killings its grim name, the Tub Sock Murders. But the nightmare wasn't finished. That December, another Tacoma couple, Mike Reamer, 36, and Diana Robertson, 21, headed into the woods near Elby with their 2-year-old daughter, Crystal. It was December 12th, and they were looking for a Christmas tree. But by evening, little Crystal was found alone outside a Kmart store in Spanaway, miles away from home. She was safe but confused, unable to explain where her parents were. 2 months later, In February 1986, the horror revealed itself. Diana's body was found near a logging road south of Elby. She had suffered violent wounds, and once again, a tube sock was tied around her neck. Mike's pickup truck was located nearby. On the dashboard, investigators found a note stained with blood. It read, "I love you, Diana." The handwriting was identified as Mike's own. Was he declaring his innocence? Was it a farewell? Or a twisted attempt at misdirection? For years, suspicion swirled around Mike. He had a record of domestic violence against Diana. Was this just another tragedy in a volatile relationship? Then, in 2011, decades later, hikers found a partial human skull in the very same area where Diana's body was discovered. Tests confirmed it was Mike. His cause of death remains undetermined, though authorities ruled out gunshot. That discovery flipped the case on its head. If Mike had been killed too, then who had tied the tube socks? Who had left Crystal alone? Who was hunting couples in the woods of Pierce County? The answers never came. Today, the tub sock killings remain one of Washington's most unsettling cold cases. 4 lives taken, a toddler abandoned, and a forest that still whispers the unsolved story to anyone who dares wander too far. But if you think this case was haunting, wait until you hear the next one. Because in Redmond, a Halloween party full of laughter ended in a crime scene so bizarre, it still defies explanation. Case 2. The Halloween murder of Arpana Jinaga. Redmond, Washington, just 15 miles east of Seattle. A tech hub buzzing with software companies, suburban apartments, and the quiet hum of commuters. It's not the kind of place where you expect darkness to linger. But Halloween of 2008 turned one apartment complex into the stage for a nightmare. Her name was Arpana Jinaga, born in Hyderabad, India. Brilliant, determined, full of life. She had crossed an ocean to chase her dream of working in technology, and by 24, she was thriving as a software engineer in Redmond. Friends described her as magnetic, sharp-witted, kind, and fearless. She joined a motorcycle club, practiced taekwondo, volunteered at an animal shelter. She even helped at the local fire department. Arpana didn't just live. She filled every space she entered with possibility. And on October 31st, 2008, she did what so many others in her building were doing. She celebrated Halloween. Neighbors recalled seeing her dressed in costume, laughing, mingling, competing in a costume contest. Music pulsed through the halls. Drinks flowed. For hours, it was just another party. But at some point, she slipped back to her own apartment. And that's where the story turns. The next morning, calls and texts to Arpana went unanswered. At first, friends thought little of it. Maybe she was resting after the long night. But by midday, unease set in. A concerned neighbor, along with a family friend of Arpana's, decided to check on her. What they found is the kind of scene investigators still talk about in hushed tones. The apartment bore the marks of a violent struggle. Arpana's body was discovered inside. She had been attacked with a level of violence that stunned even seasoned detectives. Around her, someone had attempted to erase what had happened, to clean it up. Bleach, toilet bowl cleaner. Even motor oil had been used in a desperate attempt to wipe away DNA evidence. A comforter soaked in liquid was stuffed in the bathtub. Her bed stripped bare. A blanket partially burned. It wasn't just a crime. It was a crime staged. And that staging made it infinitely more chilling, because whoever did this stayed long enough to try and cover their tracks. Police launched an intensive investigation, focusing first on the Halloween party. Dozens of people had been in and out of the building that night. Any one of them could have crossed paths with Arpana in her final hours. Forensic teams gathered DNA evidence, and what they found made the case more tangled than anyone expected. DNA tied to 3 men appeared in the apartment. Emmanuel Fair, a man who had been at the party. His DNA was found on duct tape used as a gag, on toilet paper near Arpana's body, and mixed with her blood on a discarded robe in the building's trash bin. A neighbor's DNA appeared on a bottle of motor oil found in that same trash bag, and a third man's DNA turned up on a bootlace, though he had an alibi. It was like pieces of 3 different puzzles were scattered in one room. Detectives zeroed in on Emmanuel Fair. In 2010, he was charged with Arpana's murder, but the case against him unraveled. In 2017, nearly a decade after the crime, Fair went to trial. The jury couldn't agree. Mistrial. In 2019, prosecutors tried again. This time, the defense raised every doubt they could. They pointed out the DNA evidence wasn't clean. It was mixed, partial, and easily complicated by the fact that so many people had been at the party. They argued that another neighbor, one who stopped cooperating and invoked his Fifth Amendment right, could have been involved. The jury deliberated. At first, they were split, but gradually, they agreed on one thing. The state hadn't proved Fair guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Verdict: not guilty. Fair walked free. But not guilty doesn't mean innocent. It means unanswered. And that's what Arpana's case remains, unanswered. To this day, her family in India still lives with the void left behind. Her friends in Washington still wonder who among them knows more than they're saying. And investigators are left with a puzzle that never quite fits together. The bleach, the motor oil, the DNA, the neighbors, the silence. Did someone from that party end her life? Or did someone slip in afterward, unnoticed? The questions still hang in the halls of that Redmond apartment complex. And if you walk by on a crisp October night, with jack-o'-lanterns glowing in windows, you might feel it too. That sense of unease that comes from knowing a killer was there. Stay with us, because if you thought this case was haunting, the next will rattle you even more. A young man vanishes on Interstate 5. His car is found abandoned. His wallet, phone, and ID. Case 3. The vanishing of Logan Schiendelman. Tumwater, Washington. A small town just south of Olympia. Quiet streets, high school football pride. The kind of place where families know each other by name. But in May of 2016, that small town serenity was shattered. A 19-year-old young man vanished into thin air. His name was Logan Drew Schiendelman. Logan was raised primarily by his grandmother, Virginia. She described him as gentle, intelligent, and thoughtful, a boy with a bright future. At Tumwater High School, he was a star defensive back on the football team. His athleticism and quiet determination made him well-liked, both on and off the field. After graduation, Logan briefly attended Washington State University, but like so many young adults, he seemed caught between the weight of expectation and the uncertainty of the future. By May of 2016, he was living back home with his grandmother. Friends and family noticed he seemed distracted in the weeks before he disappeared, as though something heavy was on his mind. On the morning of May 19th, 2016, Logan left his grandmother's house. She recalled that he seemed preoccupied, lost in thought. It wasn't unusual for him to take drives to clear his head. But this time, he never came home. That afternoon, Logan's 1996 Chrysler Sebring was found abandoned on the shoulder of Interstate 5, near mile marker 92. Inside were his wallet, his ID, his debit card, and $25 in cash. His phone was there too, turned off. There were no signs of a struggle inside the car, no crash damage that would explain why it was left there. Just an unlocked vehicle sitting on the side of a busy highway. Its driver gone. As police scrambled to piece together what had happened, witnesses came forward with unsettling accounts. One driver said they saw a man resembling Logan standing outside the abandoned car, flanked by two unidentified white men. Were they friends? Strangers? Something more sinister? Another witness reported seeing the Chrysler swerving across lanes around 2 p.m. before veering into the median. They claimed a man then exited the passenger side and ran into the woods. Who was that man, and why did he run? A 6-hour search of those woods with K9 units turned up nothing. No footprints, no clothing, no trace of Logan. As the days turned into weeks, Logan's disappearance baffled investigators. Some believed he left voluntarily. Perhaps he was overwhelmed, caught in a personal crisis, and decided to start over. But those who knew him dismissed the idea quickly. He left behind his phone, his money, his identification. Who disappears without the tools needed to survive? Others believed foul play was inevitable. Maybe the two men spotted near his car weren't companions at all, but predators who saw an opportunity. One darker theory suggests that Logan may have confided in someone about something he knew, something that put him at risk. His distracted demeanor in the days before his disappearance suggests he was carrying a burden. But if so, he never shared it with anyone. Despite extensive coverage, appearing on Investigation Discovery's Disappeared and Dateline NBC's podcast Missing in America, no answers have come. His case remains open. For his grandmother, Virginia, each day since May 19th, 2016, has been a repeat of the same haunting silence. She still waits for a phone call, a tip, a sighting, anything that can end the gnawing uncertainty. For the Tumwater community, Logan's case is a wound that never closed. One moment, he was a promising young man preparing for adulthood. The next, he was gone, swallowed by the shadowed stretch of I-5. And that is what makes Logan's story so terrifying. Not violence we can see, not evidence we can analyze, but the complete absence of answers. A boy vanishes in broad daylight, and 8 years later, his name still hangs unanswered in the air. Washington's landscapes are breathtaking, its forests deep, its mountains proud, its highways long and winding. But within its beauty, darkness lingers. 3 stories, 3 cases, each unresolved. So as you step away from this video, remember, evil doesn't always arrive with warning. Sometimes it hides in the woods, sometimes in the apartment next door, and sometimes it waits on the side of a highway. Thanks for joining us on this journey into Washington's darkest mysteries. If you found yourself gripped by these stories, don't let go just yet. There are more unsolved cases, more shadows, more unanswered questions waiting here. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next descent into the unknown. And as always, thank you for stepping into the dark with us today. Be careful the next time you take that familiar drive or walk through the quiet woods, because sometimes it's the places we trust most that hold the deepest secrets.